and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Cinetober. And I know that I have not made a Halloween video in a while, guys. I am sorry, I have been lazy, and it's just been a hectic week with work, with schoolwork. But I am here, and Halloween is tomorrow. So, you guys will be getting one more review. You'll be getting this one, and I'm still deciding on what my last review for Halloween should be. But I decided, because of some of my friends, my friend, Big Dave, said I should watch the original Children of the Corn, which I have actually never watched the original Children of the Corn, and after watching it, oh my gosh, this is a good horror movie. This was actually one of Stephen King's adaptations that turned out to be good. Now, one of my favorite things about this movie is the the female lead, Linda Hamilton. Linda Hamilton has been in two of my favorite movies. The Terminator series, I know I said movies, the Terminator series and Dante's Peak. Dante's Peak was the very first movie I ever seen Linda Hamilton, and ever since then I have loved the movies that she has done. But this has been, I think, I want to say the third movie I've seen her in. And this movie starts out with this little kid Joseph who is narrating about what's going on, about how everyone's getting out of church. It's a Sunday afternoon, or before main church service, or after. And so they go to this cafe, and he's narrating about why most of the kids were gone. Most of the kids were at a meeting with Isaac, which Joseph's dad did not like Isaac, so he wouldn't let him go. So then all of a sudden we see all these kids coming in. We see Malachi, and we then see Isaac approach, and when Isaac approaches, the door is locked, and all these kids are already in this cafe. All of a sudden, people start choking on coffee, and all these kids just turn and kill all the adults. And this little kid Joseph watches as all this is going on. We're then introduced to our two main characters, Bert, who is played by Peter Horton, which I've never seen him in anything except this, and Vicky by Linda Hamilton. They're playing a couple, and Bert is a doctor who's supposed to go, I forget where they're supposed to go. They're supposed to go to San Francisco or something, because he's a doctor, and he's gotten a new job, and so he's got to go. So it's I think it's his birthday or something. And so, they decide to go on the road because they have a lot of driving to do. Then all of a sudden we see Joseph, who is older, and this was 3 years. The beginning of the movie is 3 years before this takes place. So Joseph is saying how he's going to run away and how he's going to basically go get help because him, Sarah, and Job are tired of listening to Isaac. They do not trust Isaac. They're terrified of him. They want to leave. They don't want to be part of this anymore. Well, when Joseph starts running, all of a sudden we see the briefcase gets covered in blood, and then when when Vicky and Bert are on their way to go to the place they're supposed to go to, they hit him, and then they start suspecting things. One thing I do like about this movie is the suspense that it builds. Whenever the camera is pointing around at them, and you wonder, oh my gosh, are these people going to get killed or what's happening? They build up the tension so much, and it's just really, really creepy. Especially when they're supposed to go to this one town, but they keep seeing the sign for this town, Gallatin, or Galatian. And so they eventually do find a tow truck, or they find a gas station, and the guy's like, I don't got no gas, I got nothing, you need to go this way, and you'll be where you are. All of a sudden, the dog starts hearing children giggling. Now, one thing that is very creepy is the cornfield itself. Whenever people go in this cornfield, you just get this creepy feeling, and especially when the kids are giggling. Oh, that is one of the most scary things in the world. Oh, gosh. Ugh. So, when he's going through the corn, he decides to go back to Vicky, and Vicky's asleep, and she has a dream that the kid comes alive and tries to kill her, and then they're like, all right, we got to get out of here. We have got to do something. So they start driving around, and they keep finding the signs, and they say, screw it, we're going to go to Gallatin. We then see the other two characters, Job and Sarah, who keep staying in their old house, listening to music and playing games, and how they're talking about what they're going to do when they get away. And that's one thing I love about these characters. These are really, all these actors did a phenomenal job. They really do play the creepy psycho killers. But they're planning on getting away. All of a sudden, the one that they are afraid of the most is Malachi. Malachi shows up, takes them to Isaac. Malachi and Isaac disagree a lot in this movie. Malachi thinks things should be a lot more strict, whereas Isaac, it gives them a little bit more. He's not that strict on the little ones. He's like, why aren't you that strict with them, or something like that? We need to punish them. And he's like, no, she has been given with the gift of sight. And one thing with Isaac is his character is, I have been given this gift. I know what God speaks. Now, they never say where he got this knowledge, but all Sarah and Job say is that once he arrived in town, everything changed. And so they never really explain, and I'm okay with that. You know, of course, they made so many other sequels. But we see where Malachi and Isaac start to have their disagreements and start to argue. And so this movie basically focuses mostly on the couple and the two kids. The two kids are basically scared and they are wanting to get out of there. They do find Joseph's body, and Joseph is put on a corn cross and is sacrificed. Now, when Bert and Sarah go to the gas station, after they leave, the suspension builds up, and you know something bad's going to happen. And Malachi kills the old man. Isaac gets ticked off. He's like, why did you kill him? He had things we needed. And this is once again where they start to disagree. He's like, we have plenty of fuel from the corn. And he's like, no, we have nothing. Because of you, we're basically screwed. And you just feel the tension build up, like, ooh, something's going to happen between these two. And, oh, trust me, it does. So, when Bert is going, they find this house and they find Sarah. Job is somewhere else. I can't remember. Job is basically following Bert a lot. They find Sarah in this house by herself, and they basically befriend her and they talk to her, and they're like, what are you doing? I was drawing, but I can't draw because drawing is forbidden. And so when Bert is out walking around, and he notices a lot of things have been surrounded by corn things, but basically. And so then all the kids start sneaking up to the house that she's in with Sarah, and then they basically chase her up the stairs and they bring her out, and then the camera fades to a picture that Sarah drew, and it was her getting captured. And they do say that she has the vision of sight, so she can basically see the future, for them anyway. So while she's getting kidnapped, he's looking around and he discovers, oh crap. And he finds some drawings and he's like, oh crap, I need to go see Vicky. And Vicky has been kidnapped. And so then he runs to the church, and we see now, they do say that like every 19th birthday the kids are sacrificed to the one who's behind the cropped or whatever. Now when I watch the remake, they never show or do anything with this, but in the original they do. They establish somewhat what it is, and we actually don't get really to see this creature, but it's pretty awesome. Stephen King did good with this adaptation. I've never read the book, but now I want to. So he goes to the church, and we see this kid has drawn a pentagram on his chest. He's getting ready to be sacrificed. All of a sudden, we see this black girl who's all crazy and who's trying to kill him. And so when he runs in, she's like, go get... No, don't go get Isaac. Go get Malachi. Because they know Malachi... They're starting to follow Malachi more than Isaac. And so when they have Vicky... and they have her put on that corn cross, they have a humongous disagreement. Isaac's like, we need to sacrifice them both tonight. We cannot do it without him. Go bring me the husband. Malachi's like, look, let's just cut her down. Let's go take her out in the front, and let's go promote and set a trap for him and capture him. And this is an ingenious plan. but Isaac wants to do something different, and this is where they have a big debate, and you can sense something is going to happen between these two, and these two are good together. Isaac and Malachi do really good forming off of each other. So when when Malachi frickin' shows up, he's running from the kids, he gets stabbed by the girl, and it becomes a chase. And they chase him around the town, and he's about killed until Job and Sarah step in again, and they save him. And then Malachi comes up with a good idea. I'm going to take things over. Isaac is going up there. So all the kids turn on Isaac, and they put him on the corn cross, and then they pull out with their plan. And then pretty much when he arrives, or when he's hiding, he starts to leave, and then we see what happens. The dude walks into the cornfield, and he gets killed. And Isaac is on the cross saying the God of hell is going to burn you people. And then Isaac's basically crying like, no, I did everything you wanted. I did all of your commands. And then Isaac gets, and I quote, blown up sky high while he's still on the cross. So then Bert comes in, and he pretty much fights these kids, but he starts talking to him and starts messing with them. He's like, is this what you all are, is this what God really wants you to do? God does not want you to do this. And he talks about what real religion wants. And he basically starts to get the kids on their side. But then Malachi starts to attack him, and they start fighting. And then when he's like, so you think God wants you to kill people? He proves them wrong. He does not kill Malachi. He throws the knife at the side of his head, and then Malachi starts going, what are you doing? Go after him. And then this breaks the mind control over the kids, and the kids follow Bert out. All of a sudden, this was so creepy. You hear the voice of the creature screaming Malachi, and it's Isaac. Isaac has been possessed by this thing, and he's like, he wants you too. So then Isaac breaks his neck. And then he runs, and all the children basically run into the barn because this big, gigantic thing is coming. So earlier they were talking about how they were going to destroy the cornfield. They were talking earlier about how one of the people got away when everyone was getting slaughtered, but Malachi killed him. So then they decide, they're like, well, what was the minister doing? He was reading a phrase out of the Bible, and then they read it, and it was talking about how the lake of fire, which means he was going to burn down the cornfield. So now it's basically a climax to run to the cornfield, get this gas chamber set up, the fire hose, and all the kids help to burn down the cornfield. And it does happen, but when they make a Molotov cocktail to set off because all the hoses and everything have broken because they're so old. So then Job runs out, and you see this thing, it's like a sand shark, but it's like a worm pretty much. And I was like, oh, come on, Joby, get there, come on, man, yes. And then he's like, throw it, but throw it right this time. He throws the Molotov cocktail, it sets the cornfield ablaze, and then there is a big kaboom. And then the movie, I did not expect this coming. I really did not. When they're going to the car, they're basically saying, we're going to go to Seattle. That's where they were going. He's like, let's take these two with us to Seattle. And when they're getting ready to walk 19 miles, oh my gosh. When Bert gets into the car, this girl has the picture on the poster, has someone holding up a scythe, and she's in the back, and she's got the scythe, and she's like, Outlander must die. He moves, and then he throws the car door in her face, knocks her unconscious, and then the movie ends with them leaving. The original Children of the Corn, great movie. Good suspense, good acting, good characters all around. This is a good film. I strongly recommend. This is on Netflix right now. Watch this. If you have not watched Children of the Corn, watch it and then watch this review. Guys, please don't watch the remake. You will save brain cells. This has been another episode of Cinetober. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Stay tuned for my one last review. I am tempted to do Human Centipede or VHS. Which do you guys think? Comment below and let me know, and I will do it. Guys, have a good night.